Considering audience characteristics is an important first step in the presentation design process. In this video, I'm going to share with you ways that you can target your presentation to different audiences. I've given my fair share of presentations over the years. It started back in 4th grade. I had to do book reports that year. Book reports throughout the year, several of them. And the first round of book reports were quite boring, to be honest. I sat there as my classmates just talked about the book that they had read, and that was it. I did the same thing on my first book report. So then when the next book report came around, I wanted to do something different. I had been in the audience seat, and I wanted to connect with them. I wanted them to remember the book that I had read and want to read it themselves or read about that topic. So I chose a book about cooking. I was interested in cooking in that year of 4th grade. I had started cooking with my mom, and so I chose this book about breakfast recipes. And I read the book. It had an interesting recipe on creating a puffy omelet. The recipe talked about how you could use a skillet to create the omelet on the stove and then finish it off in the oven to keep it moist. How you wouldn't want to use a cast iron skillet because this cast iron skillet tends to stick with the eggs. So when it came time to do the presentation, I borrowed my mom's electric skillet, and I actually created the omelet in front of the class. And while I was creating the omelet, I talked to them about structures of the recipes, how there's our ingredients list, how there are directions, how there are variations, serving sizes, and supplemental instructions about what you can do to make your cooking skills better or adjust for your own tastes or where the recipes came from. So in this video, I want to share with you some ideas for how you can target your presentations to different audiences so that you can better connect with them, so that you can make your presentations more memorable, more engaging, more enjoyable for you and for your audience. When you give a presentation, your goal is to connect with your audience. Presentations should not be information dumps, conveying everything that there is to know about a topic. We want to create presentations that are meaningful to our audience, that take in their interests, their characteristics, and their priorities. We want to speak to our audience, not at them.
So as you begin to plan out a presentation, try to visualize your audience. Think about their characteristics, about how old are they? What educational backgrounds might they have? Where are they from? What are their language levels? Would they be technology savvy? Should you want to incorporate some digital interactivity? Consider how the topic would fit with the audience. What relevant and prior knowledge might they have about the topic? How familiar would they be with terms associated with your topic? What challenges may they be experiencing that your presentation could equip them to address? To what depth and complexity in the topic would be most useful for them? How formal a presentation would they be expecting? Try to picture the presentation space. How will the audience be seated? Will they have tables or rows of chairs? Will you be standing or sitting, and where? Where will the slides be displayed? How dark might the room be? Will the audience have laptops or mobile devices? How could you best connect with your audience in this space?
Spending some time thinking about who is going to be in your audience will help you to better pair your content with what your audience needs. As you're deciding on the scope of your presentation, first consider the goals that you want to accomplish in the presentation. And then you can identify what would be the best way to communicate that to your specific audience. This means explaining any key terms, technical terms, or jargon that you use in your presentation that your audience might not be familiar with. It also means using visual displays like charts and graphs that they would already be able to interpret or that you could help them to interpret during the presentation. And it means speaking at a language level that your audience would understand. Considering your audience is an important step that should not be skipped when you're designing a presentation. Making the content of your presentation what your audience needs to hear and making it relatable to them will lead to presentations that are more memorable and worthwhile for them and for you.